Earth no longer glittered at night. From the observation deck of Aegis Prime, Commander Elias Rowan watched the planet rotate in near darkness. The great population centers, New Shanghai, Lagos Arcology, Sounexus, were blacked out. Power grids had been rerouted to orbital cannons and planetary shields. What little light remained shimmered faintly beneath ionized defense layers that rippled across the atmosphere like a fever. Beyond the curve of the world hung the Varelian fleet. They did not posture. They did not broadcast threats. Hundreds of angular warships held their positions in disciplined formation, their hulls reflecting starlight in cold metallic lines. Larger command vessels loomed at the rear, silent and patient. The invaders had learned that humanity fought harder when taunted. Now they simply waited. Rowan clasped his hands behind his back. 42 years old, streaks of silver threading through dark hair, posture rigid from decades in service. He had commanded fleets across 3 star systems, but never like this, never with Earth itself behind him and nowhere left to fall back. "Status," he said without turning. Lieutenant Mara Iqbal stood at the central console, eyes moving over holographic projections. "Outer defense grid at 62% capacity. We've rerouted auxiliary reactors from lunar stations. They'll hold for another bombardment cycle. How many cycles before failure?" A pause. 3. Maybe 4. Rowan nodded once. Numbers did not frighten him, uncertainty did. The Varelians had advanced slowly, dismantling human colonies with methodical precision. They neutralized orbital platforms first, then surface infrastructure, then communications. Earth had lasted longer than any other world. It would not last forever. A low vibration thrummed through the station as distant weapons discharged. On the far side of the planet, a Varelian cruiser tested the ion shield with a focused energy lance. The atmosphere flared bright turquoise along the impact line, then dimmed. "They're measuring," Mara said quietly. "They always measure," Rowan replied. An alert chimed, soft at first, then insistent. Mara frowned at her display. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission." "Source?" She hesitated. "Earth." Rowan turned. "That's impossible. All surface transmitters were decommissioned. This isn't from a known array." Her fingers moved rapidly, isolating frequency bands. "It's narrowbeam, high coherence. Deep spectrum. I've never seen modulation like this. Play it." The lights dimmed slightly as the audio channel opened. For a moment there was only static, low, steady, unnatural. Then a voice emerged. Calm. Measured. Human. Varelian fleet. Withdraw immediately. This is your final warning. The message ended. Silence gripped the command deck. "Replay," Rowan said. The voice returned, identical in tone and cadence. Not hurried. Not emotional. It carried no distortion, no fear. "Origin confirmed," Mara whispered. "Commander, it's coming from beneath the Mariana Trench." Rowan felt something shift in his chest, not fear, not quite. Recognition. "How deep?" "Approximately 11 kilometers below the ocean floor. There are no human installations there." The transmission repeated, perfectly timed. No variation. Across the tactical display, a new overlay appeared. Varelian vessels were adjusting position. Their formation tightened, ships reorienting toward Earth. "They've detected it," Mara said. "Of course they have." Rowan moved toward the central console. "Patch into deep space monitoring. I want full Varelian response telemetry." Within seconds, alien signal traffic filled a side channel, complex waveforms, layered harmonics beyond human speech patterns. The translation AI began parsing fragments. "Unknown emitter. Subsurface origin. Possible deception." Rowan exhaled slowly. The Varelians were not prone to panic. If they were reacting, the signal carried weight. "Commander," Mara said, voice lower now, "there's more." The next playback included additional data, coordinates embedded within the transmission. Not human coordinates. Varelian fleet positioning, updated in real time. Rowan's jaw tightened. That information was encrypted at a level even Earth's own system struggled to interpret. No terrestrial sensor grid could access it directly. Is this a spoof? He asked. I don't think so. The data's accurate. It's mapping their command ships. Another tremor rippled through the station. This time it was not weapons fire. The planet below flickered, subtle distortions in the ocean surface, concentric rings spreading outward from a point in the Pacific. Seismic alarms began lighting up across the board. Subcrustal movement detected, Mara reported. Localized gravitational fluctuation. Magnitude? Climbing. Rowan's thoughts aligned with a file he had not opened in 20 years. Activate clearance protocol Delta 7, he said quietly. Mara stared at him. Sir? Do it. Her hands hesitated only a second before moving. The system requested biometric confirmation. Rowan placed his palm on the scanner. A retinal flash followed. Access granted, Project Leviathan. The name appeared on the private display, unseen by the rest of the crew. 20 years earlier, in a classified chamber beneath Geneva, Rowan had listened as scientists described something impossible. An anomaly discovered deep within Earth's mantle, an engineered structure predating human civilization. Not natural. Not human. Dormant. It had not responded to probes. It had not emitted energy. It had simply existed. Until now. Commander, Mara said, eyes widening. The source of the transmission is expanding. Energy output increasing. On the main screen, a faint glow began to pulse beneath the Pacific. It spread in geometric lines, faint but unmistakable, like circuitry illuminating beneath the ocean floor. The transmission played again. Virelian fleet. Withdraw immediately. This is your final warning. A new alert interrupted it. External hail request. Unidentified Virelian command frequency requesting direct channel, Mara said. Rowan straightened. Put it through. The screen shifted. A tall, elongated figure appeared, skin pale and faceted like carved stone, eyes dark and reflective. High Executor Kildar. His voice resonated with layered undertones, translated into human speech. You broadcast a threat from beneath your own world, Kildar said. Explain. Rowan met his gaze. You were warned. The alien's expression did not change. You lack the capability. Do we? A pause. In the background of Kildar's image, Virelian officers moved with unusual haste. You attempt psychological manipulation, the executor said. I find it inefficient. Another tremor coursed through Earth. On the tactical display, 3 Virelian destroyers drifted slightly out of formation as gravitational readings spiked. Mara whispered, Their ships are compensating. Rowan's eyes remained fixed on Kildar. This is not manipulation. Leave orbit. The alien studied him with unsettling stillness. If this is deception, your species will be extinguished. Rowan did not raise his voice. If you stay, the outcome may be less predictable. The channel closed without farewell. Silence returned to the deck, broken only by the hum of overworked reactors. Sir, Mara said softly, did we just threaten a superior fleet with something we barely understand? Rowan looked back at the planet, the dark continents, the shimmering shield, the faint glow growing beneath the sea. It wasn't meant to activate yet, he said. Another pulse rippled outward from the Mariana Trench. This time, it was visible even from orbit, a thin ring of distorted space expanding across the ocean surface. On the tactical display, 1 Virelian cruiser flickered as its stabilizers struggled. The transmission began again. Calm. Unyielding. Final warning. Rowan felt the weight of history pressing forward. Humanity had prepared for annihilation. They had not prepared for this. Open all sensor arrays, he ordered. I want to know exactly what we've awakened. Outside, the Virelian fleet tightened its formation. Below, something ancient stirred. The tremors did not stop. They deepened. From orbit, Earth looked unchanged at first glance, Oceans vast and dark, continents dim beneath shield haze. But the sensor overlays told another story. Beneath the Pacific, gravitational readings rose in clean, deliberate increments. Not chaotic like tectonic stress. Measured. Controlled. Commander Elias Rowan stood at the central display while the science division streamed live data across his lens. Numbers climbed in smooth curves. Energy signatures formed geometric lattices beneath the crust, radiating outward from a single abyssal point. Energy source confirmed at 11.2 kilometers below the seabed, Lieutenant Mara Iqbal reported. Structure diameter approximately 40 kilometers. It's symmetrical. Natural formations aren't symmetrical, Rowan said. No, sir. The transmission echoed again through the deck. Withdraw immediately. This is your final warning. The voice had not altered tone or pace. It sounded neither hostile nor pleading. It sounded certain. A private channel blinked open on Rowan's wrist display. Priority clearance Omega. Dr. Anika Sato's face appeared, pale in the glow of subterranean lab lighting. You've activated it, she said without preamble. It activated itself, Rowan replied. Tell me what we're looking at. Sato inhaled slowly. She had aged more in the past 20 years than Rowan had. Secrets did that. When we discovered the structure in 47, we believed it inert, she began. Its architecture isn't based on any material science we understand. It's layered, crystalline matrices wrapped in something that behaves like solidified space-time. Rowan remembered the briefing room in Geneva. The hologram rotating slowly above the table. Scientists arguing whether to bury the discovery or weaponize it. You told us it was dormant, he said. It was, Sato answered. No measurable output. No response to stimuli. We assumed it was a relic. Relics don't broadcast warnings. No. A violent spike rippled across the tactical grid. 3 Varelian destroyers veered out of formation, their engines flaring bright as they compensated for sudden spatial drift. They're experiencing gravitational shear, Mara said. Localized, targeted. Rowan looked back to Sato. Targeted how? The scientist's voice tightened. The energy field is interacting with mass concentrations in orbit. It's selecting vectors. Selecting, Rowan repeated. Yes. The implication settled heavily between them. On the main screen, the Varelian fleet shifted again. Larger command vessels repositioned, smaller craft forming defensive shells around them. Their response was precise, disciplined, but no longer casual. An alert chimed. External hail request. Put it through, Rowan ordered. High Executor Kaeldar reappeared, posture rigid, eyes reflecting cascading data. The composure remained, but something beneath it had sharpened. You are interfering with our vessels, Kaeldar said. Rowan folded his hands behind his back. We advised you to withdraw. You imply control. Your species lacks this capability. Rowan did not respond immediately. Behind him, Mara watched readouts with mounting tension. Control is a relative term, Rowan said at last. Kaeldar's gaze narrowed slightly. Cease this action. It is not an action, Rowan replied. It is a consequence. The alien's expression remained unreadable, but his officers were moving rapidly in the background. Streams of untranslated commands pulsed across secondary channels. You endanger your own planet, Kaeldar said. Rowan allowed himself the faintest nod. Yes. The channel terminated without further exchange. Sato's voice returned through the private feed. Commander, there's something else. I suspected there would be. The structure isn't merely emitting energy. It's analyzing. We're detecting signal patterns cycling through Varelian fleet frequencies. It's studying them. Rowan felt the cold clarity of a puzzle piece sliding into place. It's responding to invasion parameters. That's our working theory. We believe it's some form of planetary defense mechanism. Built by whom? We don't know. The isotopic decay in surrounding rock suggests it predates complex multicellular life on Earth. Rowan glanced toward the planet. Humanity had fought wars over continents, resources, ideology. They had nearly destroyed themselves before ever leaving orbit. And beneath them, something ancient had waited. "Why now?" he asked. Sato hesitated. The structure activated when Virelian weapons breached upper atmospheric layers during the third bombardment cycle. It may interpret orbital aggression as a trigger condition. So it doesn't care who we are, Rowan said. Only that we're under attack. That appears likely. Another pulse surged outward from the Pacific. This time, the distortion became visible even without overlays, a faint warping of starlight around one Virelian cruiser. Its hull bent inward for a fraction of a second before stabilizers compensated. "They're reinforcing structural fields," Mara reported. "Power redistribution across their fleet." "They're adapting," Rowan murmured. "So is it," Sato replied. A sudden tremor rattled Aegis Prime. Not from weapons. From Earth itself. "Seismic escalation," Mara said. "Magnitude 6.8 along the Pacific Ring." Rowan's jaw tightened. "Projected planetary stability?" Sato's answer came quietly. "Unknown. The energy release is localized for now. But if it scales, Rowan finished, we risk mantle destabilization." "Yes." The room fell still. Humanity had prepared Leviathan as a last resort, mutual annihilation if Earth fell. They had never confirmed it would work. They had never expected it to wake on its own. "Can we shut it down?" Rowan asked. "Not directly," Sato said. "We never found an interface. It's sealed within layers of matter we can't penetrate. The activation sequence appears autonomous." As if in response, the transmission played again. "Withdraw immediately. This is your final warning." Rowan studied the waveform. Identical each time. No fluctuation. No emotional variance. "It's not threatening them," he said. "No," Sato agreed. "It's issuing terms." A sharp alarm pierced the deck. "Commander," Mara said, voice rising. "We've lost 3 Virelian destroyers." On the display, their icons vanished. No explosion. No debris. Simply gone. "Spatial compression event," she continued. "Localized singularity formation, then collapse." Rowan exhaled slowly. The first irreversible line had been crossed. Across orbit, the Virelian formation fractured for the first time. Ships scattered outward, defensive geometry breaking under sudden stress. "They didn't expect resistance of this magnitude," Mara said. "No," Rowan replied. "They didn't." Sato's feed flickered as underground systems strained. "Commander, energy output is still increasing. If this continues, Earth's crust will not remain unaffected." Rowan stared at the darkened world. Billions sheltered beneath those silent continents. Evacuation fleets were weeks from safe harbor. Earth needed time. "How long before destabilization becomes critical?" he asked. "I can't give you a precise window," Sato answered. "Hours. Perhaps less." Another hail request flashed across the screen. Kaeldar again. This time his tone carried something new, not fear, but calculation. "You have unleashed an unknown construct," the executor said. "It has destroyed our vessels." "You were warned," Rowan replied evenly. "You risk your species." Rowan met the alien's gaze without flinching. "We always have." Kaeldar paused. Behind him, tactical projections shifted rapidly. "This entity is not yours," the alien said. "You do not control it." "No," Rowan said. "But it appears to be on our side." The connection cut. Mara turned to Rowan, eyes reflecting the glow of collapsing fleet formations. "Sir, what if it doesn't stop?" Rowan watched as another gravitational wave rippled through orbit, bending space like water under pressure. "Then," he said quietly, "we find out how much our world can endure." Below, beneath miles of ocean and rock, the ancient structure pulsed brighter. And the countdown had begun. The 4th Virelian vessel vanished without flame or debris. One moment it held position above the equatorial line, shields flaring as it redistributed power. The next, the surrounding starlight folded inward, space compressing into a brief, flawless sphere. When the distortion relaxed, nothing remained. On the command deck of Aegis Prime, no one spoke. Commander Elias Rowan watched the tactical grid redraw itself. 4 destroyers gone. A cruiser crippled. The rest of the invasion force spreading outward in sharp, reactive arcs. "They're abandoning close formation," Lieutenant Mara Iqbal said. "Switching to distributed positioning. Increase distance between capital ships. They're trying to reduce gravitational overlap," Rowan replied. "Smart." The Pacific glowed brighter. What had begun as faint geometric lines beneath the trench had expanded into an immense lattice stretching under the ocean floor. Energy flowed along those paths with deliberate rhythm. Dr. Anika Sato's image flickered into view again, background lights shaking as instruments recalibrated. "It's escalating," she said. "The structure is no longer testing. It's applying force." Rowan kept his eyes on the orbital display. "Is it random?" "No. Patterns are emerging. It's isolating high-mass targets first, command hierarchies, propulsion cores, heavy weapon platforms. It understands chain of command," Rowan murmured. "That's what concerns me." A new alert surfaced, Virelian internal transmission spiking. Their encryption held, but the urgency was unmistakable. "They're not accustomed to uncertainty," Mara said. "Few empires are," Rowan answered. A hail request flashed across the central screen. "Put him through." High Executor Kaeldar appeared once more. The alien's posture remained erect, yet his surroundings betrayed strain. Officers moved quickly behind him. Tactical projections rotated at accelerated speed. "You endanger more than our fleet," Kaeldar said without preamble. "The energy source beneath your ocean destabilizes your tectonic mantle." Rowan nodded once. "We're aware. You persist despite this?" "Yes." A brief silence followed. Kaeldar studied him carefully. "You would sacrifice your world to deny conquest?" Rowan held his gaze. "We would rather choose our fate than surrender it." Another gravitational surge rippled through orbit. This time, the distortion struck closer to the Virelian flagship. Its hull flexed visibly before stabilizers compensated. Kaeldar did not react outwardly, but his eyes sharpened. "This construct is not of your design," he said. "Our scans confirm material compositions inconsistent with your technological capacity." "That's correct," Rowan replied. "You discovered it." "Yes." "And you activated it." "No," Rowan said evenly. "You did." The alien's gaze did not waver. "Explain." "You initiated sustained planetary assault." The structure responded. Sato's voice entered Rowan's earpiece privately. "Commander, we've confirmed adaptive behavior. It's cycling through Virelian communication spectra. It's learning their response times." Rowan absorbed that. "Does it recognize us as hostile?" "Negative. It appears keyed to external aggression signatures." "So it differentiates," Rowan said. "Based on behavior, not identity." Rowan looked back at Kaeldar. "It seems you triggered a defense system." The executor's expression shifted almost imperceptibly. "A planetary guardian. That's one interpretation." A tremor shook the station again, stronger this time. Seismic graphs flared crimson across the lower hemisphere. "Magnitude 7.3, Mara reported. "Deep mantle displacement increasing." Sato's voice tightened. "Commander, the energy draw is approaching thresholds we never tested. If the structure enters full activation, we cannot predict the outcome." Rowan knew what that meant. Earth might survive. It might fracture. The line between deterrence and catastrophe was narrowing. On the tactical display, a Virelian cruiser attempted a high-energy jump. Space folded around it, engines flaring. Before the jump completed, a localized compression wave intersected its trajectory. The ship collapsed inward silently. Kaeldar's eyes flicked sideways as data streamed in. You claim no control, he said. Yet it favors you. It favors survival, Rowan answered. The alien regarded him for several seconds. Our species has encountered relic technologies before, Keldar said slowly. We harvest them. Repurpose them. None have exhibited autonomous judgment. Perhaps this one does, Rowan replied. Sato interrupted again. Commander, we're detecting a new phase. Energy output is reorganizing into a coherent waveform. It's not just attacking, it's preparing. For what? A larger discharge. Mara's hands tightened on her console. Estimated impact? Sato hesitated. Potentially fleet-wide. Rowan felt the weight of it settle in his chest. If Leviathan released that level of force, it might eradicate the Varelians entirely. It might also shatter Earth's lithosphere. Keldar spoke again, voice lower now. If this construct completes its cycle, both our species may suffer irreparable damage. That possibility exists, Rowan said. You would accept extinction? Rowan's answer came without hesitation. We've faced it before. The executor studied him as though recalibrating an equation. You are unlike the civilizations we have subdued, Keldar said. Rowan allowed a faint exhale. We learned from them. Another surge pulsed from the trench. This time the glow intensified to visible brilliance, even through atmospheric haze. Concentric rings spread across the Pacific surface, bending reflected starlight into arcs. Mara's voice wavered slightly. Commander, Phase 2 charge confirmed. A countdown appeared in Rowan's private display, unfamiliar numerals overlaid by translation algorithms. 12 minutes. Sato's image steadied. Commander, if it reaches critical mass, gravitational harmonics could cascade through Earth's core. Probability? Rowan asked. Unknown. We lack a model. Keldar watched the silent exchange across Rowan's face. You stand at the edge of annihilation, the alien said. Rowan met his gaze. So do you. Silence hung between them. Behind Keldar, one of his officers leaned close, speaking rapidly. The executor listened without breaking eye contact. We have calculated projections, Keldar said at last. If this entity continues, fleet losses will exceed acceptable parameters. And Earth? Rowan asked. Your planet's stability curve declines exponentially. Rowan knew that. He did not look away. We will transmit data, Rowan said. Keldar's brow ridges shifted slightly. Data? Full energy readings. Structural analysis. Proof of what is occurring. You would reveal strategic information to an adversary? Rowan's voice remained steady. You already know enough to be afraid. I'm offering clarity. Mara glanced at him sharply but said nothing. Keldar considered. Why? Because this isn't about defeating you, Rowan said. It's about stopping you. A long pause. Transmit, Keldar said. Rowan gestured to Mara. Send it. Streams of raw sensor data flowed across the channel, mental stress projections, energy accumulation rates, predictive models of fleet-wide impact. Keldar reviewed the incoming information in silence. His officers clustered behind him, calculations unfolding across alien interfaces. The countdown ticked downward. 8 minutes. Sato's voice was barely above a whisper. Commander, if they don't withdraw. I know. On the screen, Keldar straightened. This construct evaluates aggression, he said slowly. It has not targeted your orbital platform. No, Rowan said. It has not targeted your evacuation fleets. No. It has isolated ours. Yes. Another pulse shook orbit. A Varelian frigate buckled and vanished. 5 minutes. Keldar's gaze sharpened once more. You present us with a boundary, he said. Rowan nodded. That's correct. The executor's eyes lingered on him for a final moment before the channel cut. Mara exhaled shakily. Do you think he'll retreat? Rowan watched the Pacific blaze beneath the clouds. I think, he said quietly, he understands the cost. The countdown continued. 3 minutes. The number hovered in Commander Elias Rowan's private display, cold and impartial. Beneath him, Earth's Pacific burned with silent light. The glow no longer resembled a pattern. It looked like a star trying to be born inside the planet's bones. Across orbit, the Varelian fleet had spread into scattered defensive spacing. No longer an elegant armada, now a formation shaped by caution. Engine signatures flared and dimmed as ships recalculated trajectories. Lieutenant Mara Iqbal's voice cut through the low hum of the command deck. Mantle displacement increasing. We're crossing thresholds we projected as critical. Rowan nodded once. Structural integrity of Aegis Prime? Within tolerance. For now. Below them, a massive gravitational waveform expanded outward from the Mariana Trench. It did not lash wildly. It moved with purpose, a tightening spiral of force gathering at a focal point beneath the ocean floor. Dr. Anika Sato's face appeared again, strained but steady. Commander, the charge curve just shifted. In what way? It's synchronizing with the Varelian flagship's mass signature. Rowan felt the implication settle. It's locking on to Kaeldar. Yes. On the tactical grid, the Varelian command vessel, larger than any other in orbit, began to glow faintly as its stabilizers strained against subtle distortions in space. A channel opened without request. Kaeldar appeared, alone this time. The background behind him was darker, fewer officers moved in frame. The calculated authority remained, but it now carried weight. You have forced an unacceptable equation, he said. Rowan folded his hands behind his back. We presented you with data. You presented us with extinction. No, Rowan replied calmly. We presented you with consequence. Kaeldar's gaze sharpened. If this entity completes its cycle, your world may fracture. Rowan did not look away. We are aware. Your species would perish alongside ours. Perhaps, Rowan said. But you will not own us. The countdown ticked to 2 minutes. Behind Rowan, Mara whispered, energy spike increasing. If it discharges at current amplitude, orbital curvature will collapse across their entire fleet. And Earth? Rowan asked quietly. Sato answered through the calm. Severe crustal stress. Possible megathrust quakes. Atmospheric ignition unlikely, but not impossible. Kaeldar watched Rowan absorb the information. You gamble with existence, the executor said. Rowan's expression did not shift. So did you when you entered orbit. A faint vibration ran through Aegis Prime. Not violent. Not chaotic. It felt deliberate, like a heartbeat rising in tempo. Kaeldar's eyes flicked briefly to something off-screen, then returned. Our doctrine does not permit retreat under threat, he said. Rowan inclined his head slightly. Then revise it. The alien's jaw tightened. You believe this construct favors you, Kaeldar continued. You assume it distinguishes between aggressor and defender. It has so far. That may change. Rowan allowed himself a small breath. We're willing to accept that risk. The Pacific flared brighter, light piercing through cloud cover and radiant pillars. Satellites registered gravitational harmonics aligning across orbital planes. 1 minute. Sato's voice trembled despite her effort to steady it. Commander, the energy density is exceeding our models. If it releases fully, it won't just remove the fleet. It could sterilize near orbit. Kaeldar heard the exchange. His eyes narrowed. You are prepared to destroy your own orbital infrastructure, he said. Rowan's gaze hardened. We are prepared to survive. Silence stretched between them. Across the tactical grid, Varelian vessels adjusted orientation again, but this time not outward. Engines flared along escape vectors. Mara leaned forward. They're plotting jump solutions. Rowan did not allow relief to surface. Jump calculations incomplete, she added. They're hesitating. Kaeldar's expression shifted subtly, something internal recalibrating. Our projections indicate a 72% probability of catastrophic fleet loss if we remain, he said slowly. Your planet's destruction probability is lower. Rowan nodded once. Yes. You accept mutual vulnerability. Yes. The executor studied him for a long moment. In previous campaigns, we encountered species who begged, Kaeldar said. Others attempted deception. None offered transparency. Rowan held his gaze. We're not trying to trick you. The countdown hit 30 seconds. The glow beneath the ocean intensified into a blinding lattice. Orbit warped visibly. Distant stars bent like reflections in rippling water. Sato's voice came fast. Commander, discharge threshold imminent. There's no margin left. Kaeldar inhaled slowly. If we withdraw, he said, will the construct cease? We believe so, Rowan replied. It has not targeted non-aggressive assets. And you cannot command it. No. Kaeldar's eyes hardened with something like respect. You are a dangerous species, he said. Rowan did not smile. Only when necessary. 10 seconds. Across orbit, multiple Varelian ships ignited full engine burn. Mara's voice rose. They're committing to jump trajectories. The flagship remained motionless for half a second longer. Kaeldar's gaze never left Rowan. Record this, the executor said quietly, likely to his own internal systems. Earth is not to be engaged without unanimous strategic mandate. 5 seconds. The flagship's engines flared. 3. Gravitational harmonics peaked. 2. Varelian ships vanished in cascading flashes as faster-than-light drives engaged. 1. The flagship flickered and disappeared. The moment stretched. Then the light beneath the Pacific faltered. The immense lattice contracted inward, energy spiraling back toward its abyssal core. The glow dimmed from blinding brilliance to a deep, fading pulse. On the tactical grid, empty space replaced the armada. Silence filled the command deck. Mara exhaled first. All Varelian signatures gone. Sato's voice followed, shaky with disbelief. Energy output declining. The structure is powering down. Rowan remained still, watching the Pacific darken. The gravitational distortions eased. Starlight straightened. Earth's crustal readings stabilized gradually, though tremors would echo for days. It's entering dormancy, Sato confirmed. The ocean returned to black. Rowan finally allowed himself a breath. Status of evacuation fleets? He asked. Unaffected, Mara replied. All outbound vessels intact. Rowan nodded slowly. Open a wideband transmission, he said. To whom? Mara asked. Everyone, she complied. Rowan stepped toward the central display. Earth rotated behind him, scarred but whole. This is Commander Elias Rowan of Earth's Strategic Defense, he began. His voice carried steady, clear. To any who intercepted today's events, humanity does not seek conquest. We do not pursue domination. He paused, letting the words settle. But we will defend our world. He glanced once toward the dark Pacific. We offered a choice. It was taken. The channel remained open for several seconds longer before closing. On a secure internal line, Sato spoke softly. Commander, it's over. For now, Rowan replied. Far beyond sensor range, the Varelian fleet reassembled in distant space. And beneath Earth's deepest ocean, something ancient slept once more, waiting, should the boundary ever be crossed again.